Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Nate the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. I'm gonna give y'all some time to tune in because I know these notifications ain't go out. First things first, hopefully everybody having a blessed and productive Wednesday. Hopefully everybody smoothly getting through the work day. I know for some, the kids have gone back to school already. Hopefully your kids is having a smooth school day. Hopefully everything is intact with y'all for the school year. I know next month for those in the city, y'all going back. So definitely make sure you get what you need and make sure you do what's necessary for the upcoming school year for your young ones. Riaz, what's going on, my guy? For those celebrating birthdays this week and coming into the weekend, may y'all have another year and another blessing around the sun. May y'all continue to create memories, enjoy every moment of life. And if you was able to see another year in good health and good spirits, give your praises where it's due. I know it's been a minute. I've been in and out here, but I've still been dropping those shorts. Oh, public service announcement. Because apparently we still got people who feel the need to make comments on things they don't need to make comments on. If you don't like a short video, if you don't like a content, if you don't like something in particular, your best bet is just move around it, right? Why continue to make comments or say silly stuff when you know damn well that shit is going to get thrown in the garbage anyway? It's a simple thing in life. When you don't like something, you either don't watch it or you just move around from it, right? But don't continue to keep enticing shit if you say you don't like it. That's like a person saying they don't like drama, but they still be around drama all day. You gotta make up your mind on that. For those who like to come in comment sections and make stupid comments, I wouldn't care if you was a kid or you a grown up. You're going to be held accountable for your words. So just remember that. Accountability will be a thing for the rest of this year. So, but yeah, appreciate everybody that tuned in for the last live. I know I've been going for almost 2 weeks again, but like I said, just been very busy, very active, but nonetheless, when I come through, I got to check with the peeps. And those that missed the last live stream, you can definitely catch the replay. I just want to give a fair heads up. Certain comments will be getting either pinned or certain comments just going to get deleted. So tread lightly when you decide to leave a comment. If you don't like the short videos, don't even comment on the shit. Just keep it pushing. But today, little different situation. Well, a couple things I got on the docket today. First things first is I do plan on having a conversation about some things when it comes to the dating scene. And I most likely will try to add that convo either later or tomorrow. I'm going to add a link pin. I want to give a clear warning to people out here who are creating content, whether you big time or whether you small fishes. Be careful on what you decide to bring to your platform, and also be careful that they don't try to cancel you or get you up out of here. Because we see in this type of game right here that some people will sit here and actually do their damnness to get you up out of here. Which is corny, because my thing is, if somebody is giving content, it's all information, Ain't nothing negative and ain't nothing hearsay. How y'all trying to strike somebody or how y'all trying to give somebody community guidelines? That's just like if I'm giving you the truth about certain vitamins and minerals that you'll get in certain foods, right? If I'm giving you everything that we know for a fact is actual, factual, and actually proven, why would you even try to do something like that anyway and try to stop somebody from doing what's necessary? So again, for those, even if you bringing nothing but positive content on your platforms, be careful on what you bringing because it seems like nowadays there is no freedom of expression or no freedom of anything right now. It don't seem like it neither. Before I get too crazy, my bad. I forgot about my good old sound. But yeah, just like I said, be careful of the content that you bring in, whether it's positive or not. Because now it seems like it's not just this platform. I've seen this happen on one or two other platforms. Even when people are doing good and bringing the best they could bring, they are somewhat being hindered or they somewhat just being held back from, you know, doing what they fully expect to do for their platforms, which is unfair because regardless to somebody using your service, if the whole goal is for that person to grow or that, you know, promote or do whatever, there shouldn't be certain restrictions when you know that's supposed to be part of the marketing plan, basically. Be careful with certain music you use because even with that, if they don't shut down your live stream, they will mute whatever it is you was playing. I've seen this happen on one or two platforms too. Be careful with the music you're using, whether for the short videos, the live streams, or whatever. Unless you got official copyrights for the songs that you are using, just be careful what you're using because even in that instance right there, they could limit how your videos and stuff is being pushed into the algorithm. I'm just giving a clear little indentation, especially for those who asked me recently, even behind the scenes, on how to get these things done. But overall, I'm different. My blueprint don't work for everybody. Like everybody has a blueprint in life. It might not work for everybody. And I don't expect it to. But all in all, when you find your niche and you know exactly what you bring into your platform, again, continue to do what's necessary, but just be mindful. And it seems like even with certain things you say nowadays, you have to be careful. And I'm noticing that whether you monetize or not, you still have to be area of what you say because you could possibly get something shut down, even when it's not out of malice. You know, so I say you watch what you say in certain aspects because even when people misconstrue that, it doesn't matter. You know, they will take it as something else, and you could possibly put yourself in some danger. You know, that's just like prime example is certain groups you just not gonna be able to get a win with no matter how hard you try, even if you got the numbers. So some of y'all should just be careful and again what you saying and how you saying these things, especially to those groups of people because it could transpire wrong. But just a little heads up, I'm just giving that to those who are thinking about getting into the content space, no matter what platform you decide to use. Just, be airy of certain things you say, certain things you do, and also just be mindful of certain music or certain things you might be playing in the background. And what's funny is that in some cases, even when you're not the one playing, the music or whatever that they've given copyrights for, you can't sit here and you can't sit here and penalize somebody before they even get a chance to edit out or do whatever. Like I said, it's a lot of things that I feel need to change, and the things that have changed, it didn't change for the better; it changed for the worse. So that's why I said, when the people band up and do what's necessary, you could rewrite some of these things and actually rewrite it for the good. Like prime example, if you're on a live stream, you're not expecting no music to be played. I done had a lot of live streams like that. I've been out and about. Music come on. I'm not always going to keep muting my shit. And I damn sure not going to take away from the content in general. So, it got to be a compromise somewhere. And then if you're going to give somebody something before they even get a chance to edit and double check whatever before they just, publish it, like, come on, that's unfair. You ain't giving nobody no real time to do nothing. And that's why I said it's a lot of things y'all got to take into consideration. For those who are going to make this not so much as a full-time gig, but if this is what you really going to do, you really just, again, got to know what you bring in to the platform itself. And also make sure that it's crowd engagement. That's the most important thing. So if you're going to do that, you got to have patience too. For those that I'm speaking to, you got to have patience to do that. Because there's going to be some cases where you might be stressed out because things are not flowing. But hey, that's the way it is. That's just like for people that's getting a new job. Yeah, you're going to be upset. You might not get paid for the first 2 weeks, but when you do get paid or when you do whatever, when you make that overall transition, pretty much in the good, And overall, you just got to be mindful of, again, what you bring, and make sure it's not something that could get you into a whole bunch of nonsense everywhere you go. Like there's some people, I'm gonna give a good example, that want to use racism and want to, use those type of methods for shock value to try to gain some sort of momentum. That shit don't work for everybody. See, this is what I'm saying about blueprints not working for everybody. There are some people who are following the oldest of blueprints and it ain't working for them. If anything, it's making it worse on them. Because in some cases, it's only going to be so much you're going to keep race baiting or rage baiting somebody before you end up getting held accountable and everybody else who's following that method gets held accountable. So, again, there's some things that's just not going to work for everybody. And I would advise those who are using tactics like that to remember, no matter how much clout you think you're trying to gain, or no matter what you think you're trying to accomplish, it's not going to get accomplished when it's off the backs and when it's off of the blood, sweat, and tears of others. Like, you can't sit here and think, well, I could use this, and then once I'm where I need to be, I could go back to what I was doing before. It ain't going to work like that. We've seen this in some clear cases where, some people just went with the rage or the race baiting to get all of that attention, right? And then when they get it, look what happens. And it's never the same for their brand, and it's not. Because now their brand is pretty much tarnished. Or it'll start going down that road. Because again, you gotta think about it. You walking around provoking people and provoking them in the wrong light. You asking for something to happen. Just got over here. But for those that just tuned in, make sure y'all hit that like button. But yeah, it's only so much you're gonna be able to do before you get that energy that you're putting out there. And when you get that energy, don't be surprised when you get it. If you want to sit here and provoke people all day, you want to try to trick them either out their freedom or just you want to encourage something that don't really need to be done, and then guess what? You get what you get. That's like how they used to say, you keep touching certain things you ain't supposed to touch. At some point, you're going to learn not to touch. You keep going near a socket, you keep playing around with an electrical socket. You think at some point you ain't going to shock yourself? Yeah, you will. Or the proverbial, don't touch that hot stove and you still touch it. You going to get what you get. There's going to be accountability behind that. In some cases, some people are facing accountability as we speak now. Because the tactics that you using to try to gain momentum for notoriety, it's sad. Again, it's sad how some people will really go out on that hill just to make sure that their name is ringing bells. In some cases, the names ring bells because some of those people have remained genuine regardless, haven't switched up, haven't done nothing outside of the norm. They might have added some things throughout the course of whatever, but other than that, it's remaining the same. Some of y'all don't know what the hell you come on for, and when you do come on, you don't know what you want to bring to the people, and you don't even know if it's really conducive to what you really are about. And I respect those who actually are doing the work, the ones who actually had a blueprint, knew what they wanted, and just did it, and continuing to do it. Because again, it's not easy, especially when you in a land where things could be new to you, or you in a space where you already know what comes with the territory. You're gonna get some immaturity. You're gonna get some hate. You're gonna get some jealousy, some envy, all the things that you get in the normal life, right? And guess what? It's just a little tad different on here. And again, I'm speaking to those who asked me to speak about this behind the scenes. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, it's the same way like in the streets. You're gonna get a group of people who definitely are about something, and you're gonna get a group of people who ain't about nothing. You're gonna get a group of people who genuinely gonna rock with you. You're gonna get a group of people who don't. Shouldn't matter though, because if you know exactly what you are putting out there and what it's for, then the goal should still remain on that. And some people lose sight of the goal when they get wrapped up in shit that they shouldn't really be getting wrapped up in. Or some people lose the goal when they make a mistake somewhere along the lines that could cost them, where they got to restart again. That's why I was telling people, and I'm telling y'all who behind the scenes watching, be careful again on what you saying. As much as we want to be free with our mouths, we can't. Because in some cases, guess what? It's still almost FCC regulated. Gotta be careful of what you're putting out there. The one thing I will say is if you're putting out actual information or if you're doing things like I'm doing, which is having these talks of real discussions, or, no matter what it is you're doing, again, just make sure you focus on the goal. And just know, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. And again, for those who are behind the scenes I'm talking with, I'm going to fill you in on a few other things as well, too. But, overall, if this is the alley you going, just do what you do. For my gamers, keep doing what you're doing. If that's what you plan on doing, gaming content and everything else involved in that, hey, stay in that lane. If you decide to get into another lane that you can also rock out with and make the best of, then, you know, the more the merrier, you know, keep working towards that. But yeah, if you're bringing helpful information, whether it's health wise, mental health, or anything along those lines, physical health, shoot, keep bringing the work. The one thing, like I said, don't bring out false information because that could be damaging to some. Like, prime example, there are some people who have gotten in trouble for, and this was even during the pandemic. Some people did get in trouble or possibly lost channels behind what they were saying about so on and so forth. We ain't gonna go into that, but you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. You have to be careful. But if you have actual information, and even if you sitting here proving it, then you stand on your square, you know? You know, again, it's a catch-22 when it comes down to this because, you know, some people don't have the tough skin for it. And again, it's hard to do so. In some cases, it can be because it's just like the streets. It could be hard to do, but, you know, again, gotta have clarity in what you want to do. And if you want to build for the better, or if you just want to build something just because you know you can do it, then you just, again, keep striving for the best. Nothing wrong with that. See, again, some people get lost in the shuffle. Again, you got to know what works for you and what's conducive to you. Remember to just stay focused on your goal, no matter what it is you're doing. See, like, we've had people who wondered how some people are able to have a normal, busy life, but also still be able to do content and bring content at its greatest. It's just because, again, just got to have a balance. You got to know what works. You got to know what doesn't work. And again, if this is what you're aiming towards, stay on that target until further notice. So if your goal, prime example, was to bring content about fitness and well-being, right? You continue to do what you do, no matter what. Thing is to remember, it's important to, again, be thoughtful in what you want to bring, be consistent on what you're going to bring. And again, you know, just have the good interactions with the folks, you know, because in the long run, that's essentially how you build. That's essentially how you start making something. Now, for those who ain't getting paid or for those who ain't trying to get paid, still doesn't matter. You know, whatever content you're going to bring to the platform, you do it. But do it wisely and take your time. And if you feel you need to do some edits, you know, do so. Like I said, sometimes a blueprint might work for people. Sometimes it's not going to work for people. Everybody does things differently. You know, but overall, for the rest of y'all that been talking to me, y'all already know what time it is. Just put your best foot forward and don't put your foot off the gas until you need to come to a stop. Then when you do come to that stop, that should be the proverbial, okay, let me revamp, let me regroup. I did what I need to do for this time being. Let me get back to what I was getting back to. Because again, you got to remember, it's a balance. Because you live a regular life. One thing, don't be influenced by the negative bullshit. If anything, that should be your source of fuel because it's about proving people wrong. You know, some people think, you know, change can never happen on certain levels. It can. But again, you just got to do the necessary work for it to get there. You know, no matter what life is throwing you, no matter what anything is throwing at you, throw it back. You know, essentially, you know, you're fighting for something good. And that's the one thing. Whatever you doing content wise, you gotta act like you shoot, not even act. Because it's not an act. If you're really hungry for it, matter of fact, yeah. If you're hungry for it, then yeah, better act like you hungry for it. Every other day or every day you do something, what you do what works for you, and then that's it. See the results. You might not see the results right away, but at some point when you do, you will. Going on. Mazel tov. I see you, Luna, baby. But you know, you just gotta remember when you got the right support and when you got the right folks in your ear, you know, anything is possible. That's the thing. You won't be stressed out. How you doing? You're gonna be stressed out about certain things, like I said, but that's the part of the process. That's part of the journey. You're gonna go through it.
Thank you.
I would have used my key, but that don't work.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. My bad. But yeah, you know, you just gotta, you know, remember what you're doing it for. And also, again, you want to reach a certain level, right, with it. So do what's necessary. Make it work. Don't allow outside interference or noise. Don't allow it to stop you from reaching newer heights, opening up new doors. Because remember, in life, every door is an opportunity. You have an opportunity to be great, or you have an opportunity to fail. And even when you fail, you learn from that failure and you still create greatness out of that. So again, you know, you want to get a lot when it comes down to anything you're doing or bringing to your platforms. But guess what? It's worth the journey. So again, the interactions with the people, especially when you being genuine, it works out. And always remember this, you're gonna have people that'll say something just to try to throw you off or try to make you feel like your content ain't worth nothing. But that shouldn't stop you at all because that's what you get in life. You always have people who might look down, or you might have people who think that they're better than, or you might have some people who think that you ain't going to rise to the occasion. But guess what? You know, when things end up turning out the way you need it to turn out because you worked hard for it, that's the greatest feeling in the world, and nobody can take that away from you. So keep grinding, you know. Like I said, some people worry about numbers. I don't. Only time I worry about numbers is when it's really important. Other than that, you know, for some of y'all that might be worried about the view counts or whatever the case is, it matters, but it don't matter. And I'm again speaking to those who talk to me behind the scenes about this thing. This is why I'm speaking about it. So overall, it's the blueprint for y'all. You know, you stay focused. You don't involve yourself in nothing that you don't need to involve yourself in. You know, when it's all said and done, if this is what you love doing, let nobody stop you. Again, whether you're doing the gaming, the podcasting, fitness, whatever it is keep grinding, you keep doing what's necessary. And for those that I was speaking to, I will show y'all the tricks of the stream, y'all, and everything else too. So, like I said, I'm only honoring this right now because I just remembered it. And shout out to those who definitely reminded me. It's like you need to have a little replay of this. So again, if this is what you plan on doing, no matter what platform you use, just know that again, be wary of what you say and what you do. Be careful of the music, and also be careful of certain content you might be producing because, again, they'll try to shut down that little piece of it, whatever, just because they saying it's violating guidelines. In all honesty, if content creators of all platforms would actually man up, stand together, and actually try to help rewrite some of those things, for a lot of y'all, the freedom wouldn't be feeling so limited. This is the thing. You want authentic content. You want authentic people. But it's hard to be that when you trying to stop every form of speech, every form of expression. But then again, in some cases, expression and the freedom to say and do too much, it can be detrimental. So you have to remember that part too. Unless you really gonna stand on your principle and stand 10 toes in what you said, then hey, it is what it is. But I just want to have this little quick little guideline and print for those I'm speaking to on the back end. Thank y'all for reminding me that I should do that from time to time. Especially for those who really are trying to get into this field. The one thing to remember is that when you put something in motion, you don't walk away from it so easily. And also, don't get easily persuaded by people who, again, probably just want to fluster you, or they want to discourage you from bringing the best content or doing the best things. Show them that it don't work. Again, make sure your mind is clear on everything. And watch the results happen. And again, in some cases, might have to just take a little step back, a little breathing session, because remember, you're not just a content creator. You're a human being with a life. So, and again, for those that need to hear this message today, before I leave this session alone, again, no matter what it is you're doing, put your best foot forward. And just keep yourself driven. Keep yourself motivated. It be hard sometimes, but again, when you got the right support and when you put yourself in the right mindset, these things don't become too much of an issue. These are things that would be like swatting away mosquitoes. It's going to be annoying at times, but other than that, you don't really feel it as much. For some of y'all who are doing the podcasting thing, whether you on your devices or whether you actually setting up a studio for the podcast, make sure you got the right mics, right sound systems, and make sure you got the right people so you can make the thing work. But again, make sure you bringing out the right information, because the wrong type of information that you bring out and spew out to the world, some people will actually listen to that. And in some cases, this is why a lot of people are setting themselves up for the kill now. They already done did. See, the goal is to just think for yourself, you know. Whatever works for you, whatever feels right for you to do, just do it. Never mind anything else. And if you feel right doing the content, again, let nothing stop you. Everybody gonna have views and opinions. Everybody gonna have doubts, but you shouldn't doubt yourself because you're not doing it solely for everybody or for the recognition. You're doing it for yourself to prove that you can do it. And once you've proven that, sky's the limit. But the one thing I must tell you too is just remain humble. Remain humble, remain patient. Trust me, everything will definitely work out. Like I said, just gotta keep having these talks here and there. And for those who I know about to start getting into these, getting into this space, again, do what you would normally do, but be yourself. But like I said, no self-doubt at all. Just keep yourself motivated, keep yourself wired, and keep yourself driven. Know that what you're doing is not just bringing success to your life, but just know that it's also bringing some good peace. It's almost like you leaving a blueprint or you leaving some form of a legacy of yourself. So overall, you know, once you start getting into it, you'll pretty much get the hang of it and you'll grow. The growth could be slow, the growth could be kind of quick, the growth could be medium paced, but it shouldn't be rushed neither. Be authentic and just continue to do what you've been doing. And again, don't worry about the views and don't worry about these things right away because it fluctuates. So, but keep grinding. And eventually you will open up more doors. And when you do, that's when you settle into your role and you do the most important things that you need to do. That's all. But like I said, this was just a little quick excerpt for the people that I need to speak to. Now, going back to what I was saying, I'm most likely going to have another conversation, most likely tonight. I'll see how this pans out. Like I said, it's been a busy couple of weeks, y'all. Give me 1 second. Yeah, but overall, though, y'all, I could possibly have this convo tonight. If not, give or take, I'll have this convo early tomorrow afternoon. I do want to ask a question though too, and again, this has to deal with dating, but I do want to ask this question. And it's only a question that's been asked once before, but I'm gonna ask it again. I think you gotta ask that question because it's the things that you've encountered and things that you hear. It's crazy. How you doing? And I think this is the question for the month. Is love unconditional or is it transactional? I want to know everybody's view and opinion on that part. Like I said, this conversation definitely will happen. So I'm gonna have the link drop for that one when I do it. And again, for those who really want to be part of the conversation, y'all more than welcome. Definitely want y'all views and opinion on that. I asked that question this morning actually. The reason why I asked that question is because, again, I've encountered some things, you know, and it made me really ask that question, like, where are we at now as a society? You know, again, is almost everything in life transactional, or is it supposed to be unconditional? See, unconditional love can come in a multitude of ways. It could come from multiple angles, but is it really unconditional? For some people, it could be unconditional until it's no longer unconditional. Then it's transactional. For some people, it's always been transactional. They just been hiding out. But that's a good question. Frugal baby. I mean, that really is a question that came to my mind because I kind of spoke about this a while back. But nonetheless, I feel like we got to revisit that. I mean, because when you look at it now, everything has changed up. Give me 1 second, y'all. But I think that's a overall question because I came across an argument I wasn't supposed to come across while I was out and about. Oh yeah, and for those that was wondering, I'm still planning on probably getting another dog. So I was doing my out and abouts. But some of the things I heard in the argument just made me ask that question. Because I could remember a time when financials and what somebody possibly can do for you didn't matter. It was more about knowing the person and knowing if you really wanted to have ties with that person long term and building with that person until y'all build towards your goals. I can remember that. And this is the reason why in some cases, some of the some of the fairy tale love stories you hear about the 40, 50 plus years of marriage and everything else comes into play. Why? Because again, in those cases, both parties started off with nothing basically and worked their way towards something. Because again, it was about being mutual. It was about also, again, putting in the work on both ends. Now, unless you came into a situation where you don't necessarily have to do as much, but then again, even still, you still got to produce something. You know, because like prime example, you hear about, you should have this, you should have this, and this person should have this, and this person should have that. But in the same token, what are you bringing to that person's life? What are you offering that person in return? Because you got to be real. It can't always just be about what somebody got and what somebody could do for you. Shouldn't always be transactional. And see, that's the mindset in this generation. Everything has to be transactional. Nothing can just be, you know, nothing can just be genuine anymore. There's always some sort of hidden agenda, right? Shouldn't be that way. If you generally are trying to know somebody and figure out where your next steps are, then again, money shouldn't be a thing. Because I remember people being broke and actually getting with each other because it was just about the overall connection. Not because, oh, this person possibly can do this for me, or this person could put me in a better position to where if I feel like I don't need it no more, then I could walk away. Again, some people, it's all about transactions. And I think that's a horrible mindset. And the fact that you have people that are spewing out that type of rhetoric, even to the younger generations, it's crazy. Because again, in the long run, let's keep it real. Like, what happens if there's a down period for either one of y'all? Essentially, you're saying, right, if you can only be with somebody when they up, then that means when they're down, you're gonna leave. Or even if you don't take a down period, right? At some point, if you don't feel anything, you're gonna still leave. So you basically benefited over somebody for nothing. Crazy work. But again, if you are generally trying to build somebody and grow with somebody, then all that other stuff you worry about down the road. The main things I feel you always should be focused on is this person overall good fit for you? Does that person keep you safe? Does that person keep you happy? Is that person showing you unconditional feelings, so on and so forth? Is this person going to be a liability to my life? Is this person going to be a danger to my life? Those are the questions you should be asking. Is this person going to be with me through the ups, the downs, the ins and the outs, and still remain loyal? Is that person going to continue to be loyal to the end of time? Because the one thing is, once you break loyalty, all bets is off. I'm sorry to say it, but some of y'all have put yourselves in a trick bag one too many times. Exile, what's going on? I already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. And if y'all new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. But, again, prime example, some people want the finished product, but they ain't willing to build or be a part of that building of that product. You only want to be successful at the finish line when somebody finished. You only want to reap the benefits and celebrate somebody that crossed the finish line. But you're not training with them. You're not encouraging them, not inspiring them. You're not with them on the journey. So how do you think you should benefit? I hear you, bro. Feel you. I'm supposed to be relaxing now, but I think I did too much of that. I got one more night at the plantation, and I think I'm off the ball. So let me get my fat boots ready. But yeah, again, let's keep it a buck. At one point of time in society, again, people were generally linking up and connecting and building together just because of the overall interaction. When you are attracted to somebody, doesn't matter. You're going to do what's necessary to keep that person happy, but also make sure that you're keeping yourself intact. Because again, when you are generally trying to build with somebody, you got to go through the ins and outs. You got to start from somewhere. And the thing is, again, you're supposed to be building together, not against each other. I see it nowadays. It's like it's competition. And it never was competition back in the day. It was just, we knew our roles. We knew what needed to be done. And we continued to do what was necessary. Especially when there's kids involved, Again, some people started from nothing and build and work towards something together. Can't be one person just putting in all the work, all the effort, and the other person ain't doing nothing. Or the other person is just looking to benefit off of that life. That's why I'm saying in some cases, you'll never know it's transactional until it's all said and done. So again, you have to just be mindful. Interactions. you know. And again, it's sad that it's come to that point. Sad that again in this society right now, you know, it's all about money or the benefits. Again, I thought y'all worked towards those benefits together, not one just providing all the benefits and the glory. You got to remember, everybody gonna have a little downtime. Sometimes you might have things tied up. In some cases, even if you don't have stuff saved up right now, you might be working towards that. But again, that doesn't disqualify somebody from being a good person. Like I said, financials, wallet size, nor status really defines a good person. You got people with money now that's lame. You got people with money that don't know how to really wisely spend. You got people with money that don't care about splurging and doing whatever. But, you know, that's those people. But for those that need to step into reality, you can't expect too much if you don't have much neither. And I think that's the irony of it. That's why I asked, is love unconditional or is it transactional? Because if you're only with somebody just to financially benefit from them and you really just don't even like the person or even love the person at all, that's trash. And that's a trash mindset to have because you don't know what blessings you possibly are robbing yourself out of. You know, so again, if you are not interested in a person, don't string them along, and definitely don't waste time trying to entice something. Overall, you should be building with somebody because again, you generally like that person, not like what that person can do for you or possibly do for you. Sometimes the simplest things is what keeps love unconditional in some cases, and why in some cases you get those long lasting marriages. Because again, it's a common ground. Even if we both are working, we could work together if we are trying to build something together. Again, it's not just about one person doing everything. Because if that one person happens to fall down for that little time frame, are you going to be able to pick up the slack? Are you going to be able to take a little bit of that until that person is back where they need to be at? See, again, prime example, if that person falls down because of health issues, it's not saying they ain't going to get back up, or it's not saying that they ain't going to recuperate. But if you're not going to be there for that person again in sickness and in health, it's pointless. Because again, you're only thinking about yourself. If you can only be with somebody when they financially up, but you can't go through the pits with them when they go through that downfall, again, you're being selfish. You're not thinking about nobody but yourself. I've always believed when two people are building and connecting, guess what? They are thinking about each other. EPB, what's going on? I see you up in here. Again, everything else follows suit. But in order to build what you trying to build, which is a quote unquote lifestyle that you feel you want to live, again, your partner has to be included. Some of y'all only focus on yourselves. You only focus on what you want and what you need. But again, what is that essentially saying to your partner? So I said it's something to think about, because when you hear some of these situations, you be like, well, damn, it seemed like that person was only with you just for this. Or this person just knew how to exploit something or just manipulate something. You know, but again, When somebody is truly for you, they not worried about what you got in your pocket. They not worried about nothing outside of if you got good qualities and if you're a good person. And if you're a loyal person on top of that. The most important thing is, are you respectful? And that goes on both ends. We always love to say, oh, men should have respect. Yeah, but women need to have respect as well, too. It goes both ways. Because again, it's no way you want a man to respect something, but then the woman ain't respecting something either. It don't work that way. Realist, what's going on? See you up, man. That's something that people need to really think about. When people are truly trying to connect and trying to build something, again, it shouldn't be solely based on the financials and what somebody can do for you. If you want somebody to do something for you, it should be done spiritually. Mo, baby. Sis, you still owe me a hippo, and I'm not playing. Don't let me come out there and we gotta rob the zoo together, man. Somebody lock the door. Mo can't go nowhere until I get my hippo and my cheetah. Not playing. I'm trying to build the zoo out here, son. Be safe if you driving on the road, sis. But yeah, again, you gotta think about that shit. Overall, don't start me up, Mo. You know what time it is. But yeah, you gotta remember that shit. If anything, you should worry about what this person does to you mentally and spiritually. If this person brings you peace, comfort, joy, inspiration, tough love if needed sometimes, but overall just loyal and solid, that's something that, again, you should be thankful for, because it's a handful out there that's still rare like that. How y'all say the rare diamonds? Yeah. When you got one, don't mess that up just because nobody else want to see you have that. See, that's the thing. In some cases, some people don't want you to have happiness and joy, but you don't allow nobody to rob you for it neither. Again, it's your life. You do what's necessary. Stop focusing on what everybody else thinks and focus on what you think, because that's the most important thing. So I'm gonna send you a Hulk. Said high, look low. Hawks are my favorite birds. And I hear you. I need two of those. I need a blue jay if you can find one too, sis. I told you, don't start the madness. I'm on one. I'm gonna try to get 5 of each animal. Forget that. If you find me a cheetah or a leopard, let me know. I need one. You already know, sis. You know it's always love over here. And that's the thing. It's just sad that in this state right now, everything is transactional. What can this person do for me? What can this person do for me? First things first, I'm gonna keep it real. You're supposed to do for yourself before anything. And if you are doing for yourself, right? And again, you do what's necessary. Because remember, the things you are trying to build towards, the things you really want to get accomplished, they'll get accomplished. But you want the right person for that journey. That's the one thing. Again, people want to be at the finish line after you done did all of the hard work yourself. But what about the people who actually stood tall and actually was the support? Those are the ones who really should benefit. And in some cases, that's exactly what happens. The main ones will benefit at some point. The ones that think they're going to celebrate, because again, in life, it's not just about building things on your own. It's about having the right person while you're building. And again, it's sad that some of y'all only focus on what this person can do for me financially. In some cases, what this person can do for me sexually. What the fuck does it matter? Like I said, what matters is if this person is a good fit for you, if this person is safe, if this person is loyal and respectful. If you didn't get that message, I don't know what to tell you. But I'm overall going to still have this conversation, man. And I think that's an important topic because, again, got to ask that question. And I did bring this up, but I'm bringing it up again. And I could bring this up again and again and again. For a little minute.
No, I'm going right here, but leaving this bag. This is heavy.
Hold on one second. See, that's what you get. Walking around with a light-skinned duffel bag.
I got off the cat.
The Uber. This nigga got 20 pork. Hold on, y'all. This nigga got 20 pork shoulders, a half a shoulder blade, and a pig skin up in here. What's going on, son? Nigga came from the super meat market.
Nigga that owed me $40. The veteran nigga.
Yeah.
I saw him. I said, yo, you keep thinking. He said Thursday. I said, it's been a month and a half, man. You keep telling me Thursday. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? Because you keep saying, I'm gonna kill your dog and I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, stupid.
I got you. You went to the meat market, bro.
You was gonna get it somehow, though. My bad, y'all. But yeah, again, why should it always be about what a person could do for you? What could y'all do for each other? Because again, safety, when you are with somebody, it's about safety, it's about respect, and it's about loyalty too. And there's a lot of things that also play into what can be true unconditional love for somebody that you have in your life. But again, you got to start from somewhere, and you got to remember that when it's all said and done, if it's worth it, that journey will definitely be just as beneficial on both ends. Again, if y'all both are working towards something, then why not work together? This way you can make these things possible. Because remember, it does cost money to do certain things. But the thing is, when you're together and you claim you're going to ride it out to the end of time, you got to remember, it's a joint effort. You got to put everything together. You got some people who probably ain't got a savings account, but they got money saved for a rainy day, or they got money saved for certain things, especially when they ready to do it. So again, financials nor status, in my opinion, it shouldn't be the end all be all of determining and picking the good person for you. When you have a genuine interaction with somebody and it is definitely strong, you build off of that and see what happens. But I would say for some of y'all who think somebody's supposed to just come into your role or come into your life and do everything for you, rude awakening. You're supposed to be doing certain things for yourself to begin with. If you ain't paying your own bills or paying your own way in certain forms and fashions, don't expect somebody else to just pick up the bill. In some cases, you should always rely on yourself because, again, that's just like even if you are living a single life, you still got things you need to take care of, right? That's on either end. So take care of what's necessary and worry about everything else later. When you find somebody who is quote unquote equally yoked, when you got somebody who truly is loyal to the soil and down for whatever, you hold that down. And you hold that down the best way possible. Again, some people have lost the thought of that. It's all about getting your bills paid, or it's all about getting laid, or it's all about just respect and reputation. Shit trash after a while. So all that shit means nothing. The only reputation you should be having is having a reputation of having the right person and doing right by that person. That's it. But I ain't gonna hold y'all all afternoon. I just wanted to have this little quick discussion too. The first part of live, like I said, that was mostly for the ones that spoke to me behind the scenes, even as of yesterday. I said I was going to do another live stream like that, and I did. And I'm going to probably do another one like that for those who still are looking to do whatever it is they going to do on their platforms. Just giving the helpful advice, though. But be careful, y'all, again, for that first part. Be careful, again, in what you're doing as far as the content. Because, again, they trying to really destroy all sorts of freedom of expression, freedom of speech. We see it day by day, little by little. But if you standing 10 toes in what you believe in, even if it is factual, then hey, stand your ground. But for this part of the live, I'm gonna drop the link. I probably might come back to it later tonight. Or like I said, I'll possibly do this early tomorrow. And I had a link pinned in case anybody wanna chime in on it. But yeah, that was the question for this second part of the live. Is love unconditional or is it transactional? In my opinion, it went from unconditional to transactional. It went from knowing somebody, building with somebody, and coming up from the mud together to what you can do for me so I could get to the next level. And if I got to drop you once I get to where I need to get to, then I'll do so. That's the saddest part about it, because you're robbing yourself of true blessing. You don't get those but so often. And when you end up pushing the people into somebody else's hands, you can't get mad about it neither, because you had your opportunity to do what was necessary. But again, you chose otherwise. So that's the thing too. When you mess up, be accountable for your mess ups. Again, love should be unconditional, but sad to say that nowadays everything's a transaction. And in some cases, it's like nice doing business with you, and that's it. Robbing yourself of true happiness with somebody. Because then guess what? When those people end up with the right people and they end up being, or was already on the road to being successful and just got there even more efficient, can't get mad about nothing. Could have been a part of that. But like I said, if I don't bring this conversation back tonight, most likely tomorrow afternoon, I'll probably do the same time. If not, it'll probably be tomorrow night, definitely. So appreciate everybody that's been a part of the build, still becoming a part of the build. And yeah, we still gonna have these conversations. You know, but that was a good question for the month. I ain't asking no other questions outside of, is love unconditional or transaction? I'd love to get everybody's view and opinion on it. You know, at some point you gotta come to a conclusion. You know, shouldn't be about what somebody could do for you financially. It's more about what somebody could do for you spiritually and also mentally. Because if you feel like you're in a safe space with that person, there goes your mental clarity. You got everything that you need to know. That person is keeping you safe. That person is keeping you balanced. That person is keeping you inspired. That person is there for you through your rough times. That person is there for you regardless. But like I said, I definitely had this convo later. And yeah, let me get myself up out of here. If y'all was new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the replay game. Shout out to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. For everybody that was in attendance today, y'all already know that love is love and it'll be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake. All I can do is give you real. That's all I'm going to do is give you real topics and real builds. Again, for those celebrating birthdays, enjoy every moment of your special day. Keep creating memories. You know, enjoy every moment of life. And again, if you was able to see another year in good health and good spirits, give your praises where it's due. Healing prayers and condolences to people, especially those who rock out with the channel who might have lost people recently. You know, may God give you healing, understanding, and strength during this time of bereavement, basically. And you know, just know you need the safe space for whatever. It's always over here. So But y'all stay safe. Y'all keep that third eye open. And so the next live, we out of here. Peace and blessings.